Hello, today I will be going over a build idea I came up with for Limbo using Site 09's Evade ability, as an alternative to the older Limbo strategy using Banshee's Silence ability. Ever since the Eximus rework a while back that added the crowd control ignoring Overguard Mechanic, Limbo fell off hard, as Eximus can not only walk into Cataclysm with stasis active but their abilities also attack through the Rift plane. Before, people would use Silence to nullify Eximus' powers and make him safer to play, forcing players to use a Helminth to counter this new mechanic. Evade works in a similar sense in denying Eximus but by means of being invisible, rather than outright disabling their powers. However, before I get into the build, I wanted to talk briefly about Limbo himself, a little about how he plays, and what I like and dislike about him. Starting with the two main things I dislike about Limbo, my first complaint is the visuals of the Rift. Everything will get covered in a haze that reduces visibility and can be uncomfortable to look at for extended periods. Second, Limbo is entirely countered by Corpus and corrupted nullifiers, making Limbo useless to use against these factions, or at the very least, force you to make him unfun to play by using low range and being in danger much more often. The good things about Limbo is using him correctly ensures you are nearly invincible to all enemy attacks, and you can utilize huge base damage boosts using his augment ability for Rift Surge, Rift Torrent. While the damage boost is additive with other damage mods, the amount you can rack up in Steel Path can be pretty nice, making weak weapons like one you probably noticed me holding, actually do damage. The way I play Limbo has always been utilizing maximum range and good duration to maximize the effective range and duration of Cataclysm, which is not only his main source of crowd control but also an easy way to stack Rift Torrent, as enemies entering or exiting the edge of the bubble will cause other enemies outside of the bubble to be sent into the Rift plane. If you don't care about extra damage, then Strength can be dumped entirely in Limbo builds, as Strength is only ever used for this augment. Once a bubble is cast, you can then cast Stasis to hold enemies in place, then Rift Torrent to gain a scaling damage boost depending on your strength and how many enemies are affected by Rift Surge while in the Rift. With this build I also include Evade over Banish as well as Arcane Crepuscular to gain a bit of extra strength, but also a final 3 to my critical damage, which goes nicely with the base damage boost that Rift Torrent provides, which also makes headshot kills to stay invisible easier as well. With this Limbo build, the only things you ever have to worry about are Acolytes, which entirely ignore stasis, and specifically Violence, who will teleport to you and instantly disable all of your powers, and Nullifiers, who will instantly destroy Cataclysm by just existing, making Rift Torrent the only reliable way to keep enemies in the Rift. As such, Corrupted missions, Void Fissures, and Corpus missions are not recommended at all unless you like to really have all of your tools taken from you. That being said, Limbo is a powerful Warframe best utilized solo, as other players likely won't appreciate the visual distortion effect of Cataclysm, and some might be annoyed when they are unable to shoot enemies outside of your bubbles, and plenty more players still remember Limbo players being trolls more than helpful, so even if you go out of your way to play him correctly, he's still not popular. I've used Limbo in EDA, and while I probably saved the mission, I was still disliked for playing him. Perhaps DE could give him a rework like Nova, where he functions exactly the same but tweak him so he is less of a nuisance, and this kind of build will become way more popular, who knows. Regardless, thank you for watching.
Your will was greater. This is good.